Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook. Kelly, how are you doing today? Is it a lovely day? We're recording on a different day than we normally do, so I feel like we got in here both just like a little discombobulated, but we're ready to rock this.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that's kind of when you get out of your routine, it can kind of be hard to, go with the flow, get back into it. But, we're going to rock and roll today. So Kelly,
We are.
Real quick. I know that we talked about a couple episodes ago, we talked about an event that you're holding. I want to bring attention to that real quick. Can you remind everybody what is going on, in a month or so? That you're
Definitely. Thanks for that plug, Elizabeth. I appreciate it. So real quick, guys, we started this last year. It'll be our second annual, but it's called REInvent. Now, last year we called it Launch. We're changing the name up because this is the long-term play for us, and we really love this name, REInvent. So it could be our real estate, RE, and then invent. What are you going to invent that's new in your business to take you to the next level? Or reinvent. It's a new year. You have to reinvent yourself in many cases. You have to reinvent your listing presentation, your marketing presentation. You have to reinvent some of your social. You have to reinvent your strategy when it comes to your SOI and all kinds of different things. So it's a one-day real estate conference with some amazing speakers that are going to bring content for you. They're going to bring great ideas. You will walk away with multiple ideas of how to make 2024 literally your best year ever. One day, 9 to 4, multiple speakers, lunch included, happy hour, Old Town Scottsdale on a Friday. It's going to probably be about high of 78 that day. It's going to be beautiful. And we encourage you to come down and check us out. Go to REInventPhoenix.com.
Ooh, website's live? Nice.
It's live. Eventbrite page. Just not get carried away yet. But no, we're working on all the other stuff. We're just started marketing for it here just a couple days ago. But REInventPhoenix.com. and get the ticket there. It's going to be awesome. We have a speaker coming from out of the country. We have 4 speakers coming from out of state, and we have some local speakers around the Phoenix area that absolutely crush it because there are a lot of good agents here in the Phoenix area.
Okay, fantastic. So you heard the man. Go to REInventPhoenix.com. Kelly, you always get the best domains. I don't know what's going on here. buildyourrealestateteam.com. Just keep it real simple, right?
Yeah, real simple.
Yeah, perfect. So today, one of the things that Kelly kind of mentioned while he was saying the different things you need to reinvent, we have talked a lot about social media here. So go back and listen to those. Look at how to reinvent your social media. We've talked a lot about, reinventing your leads, where your leads are coming up, or your lead follow-up. Go watch the last couple episodes for that. But today we want to talk about, your listing presentation. Maybe it doesn't need a whole reinvention, but kind of taking a look at that, see if it's still working. We want we want a listing presentation that converts, right? Is yours converting right now? If not, maybe it's time to take a look and change some things up. So Kelly, what is a lead? I keep saying lead. What is a listing presentation that converts?
Yeah, absolutely.
That converts a lead. We'll say that.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys. So when you have a listing appointment, there are a lot of steps you should go through. This would be an hour podcast, which we don't do. We kind of get right to the meat and potatoes, and we give you some really good stuff. And so if there's just a couple things you can take away from this, you should. But the number one thing I'll say when it comes to a listing presentation that converts is making sure you have a good framework to work with that is organized throughout the presentation. So what I mean by that is this: you need to have this sketched out. What are you going to take the client through from start to finish to demonstrate how you're going to be better than anyone else to get the job done for them? So for example, it should be framework and then show proof. framework, and then show proof. That's what a good listing presentation, any presentation for that matter, actually does. So when you start off, we're not going to talk about the pre-listing appointment. That will
Right.
probably be another podcast because there's a whole system around just what you do before you even get to the front door of the house from the time you book the appointment. There's processes that need to take place. And so I think we should do a podcast on that, Elizabeth. So maybe we're going a little backwards here, but we're going to do B before A, but that's okay because I think most of us know that we should have a listing presentation. We probably have some sort of listing presentation that we use, but for some reason, it's maybe not polished. Now, I guarantee you a lot less of you have a pre-listing process or even some sort of presentation that you do throughout the course of the time you book it from the time you arrive at their front door. So we'll cover that for sure because that's a big one as well. But the listing presentation that converts is one that has framework proof, framework proof. You want to demonstrate what it is you're going to do, and you want to then prove a couple of systems that you do. So you have to have systematic processes for everything you do, and you're going to talk about those with the client. Now, when you talk about systems, people get all like, "Oh, it's boring," right? But
Kelly
systems
loves
are
systems. So
what wait, listen, systems are what allow you to scale. Systems are what allow somebody to believe you're going to do what you say you're going to do. If you tell someone you're going to do X, Y, and Z, you need to do X, Y, and Z. But the catch is the client is only going to be around you and what you're doing, what, 5% or less of the time that you hired them in the job you're doing from start to finish. So you got to tell the client this. You got to tell them what the behind the curtain looks like for most agents without slamming them because you don't want to obviously do that. But what does the industry look like behind the curtain? And here's why that's not good enough for the job it is to get your house sold. And this is why I do things different. What are those processes that separate you? So I'm not going to go from page by page, slide by slide, but I will give you some generalities of our listing presentation. We do have a digital copy that we always present it on an iPad or a computer, laptop. That's what we do. And then that allows you to have your framework to keep you organized so that you don't go off on too many tangents about what it is that you do, right? Stay organized throughout the process so the client can follow along. Okay. And we do leave behind for them a book that has processes, copies of information, a lot of what you cover in the digital presentation, but it's a leave behind for them, which is great because some people who are very like, high C on the disc, they're very analytical. They want to go over that again and again and again before they make a decision on who they're going to hire. So you want to leave that. Now, let me
and that's
back
a
up.
physical copy, like
Physical copy.
okay. Got it.
Physical copy. Absolutely. Now, let me back up. If you want to know what the shortest listing presentation is out there that can be very effective, if you have a good pre-listing process, you get to the front door, you shake their hand, you talk to them. They may want to show you around. You don't allow that to happen. You say, I'm going to sit down. Let's sit down first. Let's have a business conversation. I don't want to go look at the property with you touring because when most people look at the property, you're not going to be here. I want to be able to look at it from someone who's unbiased, who is going to look at the property through the same scope and lens that a buyer would. And and Mr. Seller, you know more than anybody about this house. And so naturally, you're going to point out things that maybe the average seller wouldn't, or the buyer wouldn't see. I want to see the house like that first. So let's have a conversation at the kitchen table, wherever you want to sit down and be comfortable. And let's go over what it is that we're going to do to help you get your property sold for the highest price in the shortest amount of time possible. Then when you sit down, the water trick. I love the water trick. The water trick is when they ask you for water, because they always do, well, most people do, because they're like, considerate. What you say 100% of the time is, yes, thank you. I'll take the water. Why? Because what you'll start to see is who probably, most likely, has the decision-making authority between the couple, if it is a couple, in fact. The person who looks at the other person and says, like, go ahead and get the water, is probably the one in charge, most likely. Then another person gets
Very
up, they go to the
interesting
water, they come
theory.
back.
Okay,
So
I've
now you
never
can
heard this.
tailor 60, 70, 80% of your eye contact to the person who probably has the most decision-making authority. It's one little trick. And that's part of sales psychology. So you should always want to take the water. And the second thing too is this, guys, is people may not know it, but you're in their house for a reason. And that reason is or one of the reasons is to guide them, to be a professional, an expert, to guide them through the process. And if you aren't confident about what it is you're going to talk about, they won't buy what you're selling. One way to show your confidence in what it is that you're about to tell them is by saying, yes, I would like some water. So they can actually go get the water. You're in control. Okay, you're in charge. You're in charge for the next X amount of minutes throughout this presentation. The shortest presentation from that time on that you could possibly do is say, all right, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, outside of commission and price, is there anything else you would like to go over and discuss that you have questions about? If they say, no, fantastic. So then you go right to that section towards the end to discuss about pricing of their home with your stats and your market analysis, your market valuations, et cetera, et cetera. And then you determine the price, you go into your commission aspect of what you charge, and then that's the presentation. You could be done. Now, I want to caution people that if you're competing against other agents, you got to be careful on that one, because if the other agent comes in and has a really good presentation, a marketing presentation, and they show the whole thing to them, they might be like, well, that guy didn't even have any marketing. But again, we're assuming you sent them stuff through the pre-listing process, and they were already kind of sold on you anyways because you did the A, B, and C really well before you even showed up, right? You're selling them on why you're the best before you even show up, and that is very efficient for your time. It works well for them too, because they might want their time saved. And if they already researched you ahead of time because you have a lot of stuff out there in a systematic process and order, it just is a fantastic deal all the way around. So that's one thing you do. Now, if you don't do that, and by the way, you can't always backtrack off that. If you say, listen, because you didn't know you're competing, and you say that, and they go, well, I don't know, we actually, Johnny's coming here next, or maybe already met with Johnny, and he had this marketing plan, and yada, whatever it is, right? You can always, you know what? No problem. We have a fantastic marketing plan, probably the best you're going to see. I am happy to show it to you. Open up your laptop. Let's look at page 1 and begin, right? That sort of thing. Now, before you begin that short presentation or the long presentation, you need to ask several questions. That is a rookie mistake that I made for too many years as well, because you just want to, you think you have so much knowledge up here, you just want to get it out because you believe you're the best, right? You want to get out and show them that
Like,
you're
they only have
awesome.
questions for me. Like, they
Yeah.
want answers from me, but that's not the case.
Well,
It doesn't have to be the case.
yeah, and the reality is like, how do you know what to really hit on if you don't know what it is their pain points really are, or what they're really looking for? The main question you want to ask is, have you sold a house before? Or have you sold a house in the state of X before? Because every state is different. You don't want to assume, and by the way, if they're 60 years old, don't assume they sold a house before. And maybe they did, but they were 32 and they've been renting ever since. Or what, who knows the story? Don't make the assumption. So you want to go on that path as well. And then once you find out, you can tailor, you now know what the situation is. Now, if they have sold the house before, then you want to ask them the question, what about your last agent did you like? And what about your last agent did you not care for as much? And then they will typically tell you both. Write that down. Remember it, because those things they don't like are things that are their hot buttons that you need to make sure you do when it comes to presenting to them. And of course, when they agree to work with you, you need to deliver on that promise and actually do those things. Okay. Maybe it's not part of your presentation. Well, then maybe you need to customize it to do it. Otherwise, if you don't, you shouldn't lie. You should maybe just bow out of that meeting if that's the case. Now, there's usually not too many things that are specific. Usually, most are very, very common things. But for whatever reason, the
They weren't
perception
very
was,
communicative or whatever. It can't be like, oh,
yeah,
me
and
either.
maybe they did it.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe they did it, but they just weren't. They didn't tell them or show them that they were doing it. Right. And so that's a big part of this process of the whole listing presentation as well. You got to show them, show them, show them, show them, show them, and then something you always want to remember to say is, "Let me show you, Mr. Seller. We have the system. Here it is. It's the buyer presentation system. We have the buyer universe system. We have the property presentation showcase system. We have the open house 4-3-1 system. Whatever it is, right? Give a name to it. Tell them that you have a system, and then let me show you." Turn the page, turn a slide. There's an example, and explain it to them so they know. This is the fundamental baseline foundation of what you should be doing to have a listing presentation that actually converts. Now, when you get to the end, let's talk about closing real quick. 'Cause I think a lot of people close. Now, I've never been this person that says you should be this what, get there and make sure you close on these people, otherwise you'll never have a chance. I am not a pushy person. I don't agree with that. That's just me. Some people still do that, the old school way of kind of like closing hard, that kind of thing. Time kills deals, blah, 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 blah. That's just not really me. Now, some of that is true, but that's just not me. I'm gonna show value, show value, show value, and hopefully they say, yes, I'm attracted to that. I want to work with you. That's what I want to do. However, I still, at the end, ask for the business because you should. And so the biggest thing I do is make sure I get that done. And one of the ways I do that is I simply go through pricing. We agree on a price, or pretty much agree on a price, right? It doesn't have to be like to the dollar amount exactly at that time. And then we go into what the fees are. Make sure they have a net sheet. They know exactly what's going on there from that standpoint. And then right after that, simply ask the question, Mr. Mr. Seller, is there anything that I failed to show you that would not give you the confidence to actually work with me and my team in getting your house sold for top dollar? And if they say, no, I think there's a good presentation. I think I like it. Now they may have other people coming, but you may or may not know about that. But if they say that, then I simply go to the agreement. I don't call it a contract, right? It's contract scary, agreement's not. And then I pull out the agreement, and I simply turn around and say, well, let me show you a copy of this agreement. This agreement actually governs the state of Arizona and all the policies and procedures that it takes when it comes to actually a broker selling a property for a seller. And let's look at page 1 right here at the top. At the top, I go right into it. I start going down. Here's the address. Here's the APN number. It's a tax number, legal description. Here's some information about your property that has at the top of that first page. Here's the price we talked about. You talked about $900,000, right? Yeah, I think that'll work for us. Okay, great. Flip it around, and it's all pre-filled out,
Mhm.
but the price, right? And so you
Yep.
write in $900,000. Now, if they agree to $900,000, chances are you are going to get the deal,
Yeah.
right? Page 2 in Arizona, every state's different, has the commission amount. And that's where you talk about what that's going to be, whatever you agreed upon, right? And then you go down and they initial, and then they just keep in that rhythm of signing, right? Because now here's the situation, guys. If they have a problem with you, or a problem with the process, or a problem with anything, when you go into that first page, they may not interrupt you right away. But when you say, hey, that price is $900,000 we agreed upon, right? Is that what we're moving forward with? And they go, well, hold on here. Maybe, but we have other questions, or we have this process, or we want to talk to it will come out. It just does. So you don't have to worry about them like going, well, I'm not really sure what I should say. If they're going to go down and initial and sign,
They know
and then
what they're
suddenly
doing.
comes the
Yeah.
price and the fee,
Mhm.
they're going to work with you. Good job. You presented well, but you have to ask for the business, and you don't do it by saying, some silly, awkward, right? Okay, so I'm done presenting. Do you have any questions? No, I don't. Okay, well, uh, here's a document I have. It's a contract. Do you want to sign it? That's awful. Even if the person was like on the fence but kind of liked you, they may not like you anymore, or maybe they're now back on the fence. They still like you, but like, I don't know though. Maybe I should talk to a few more people. That sort of thing. So that's what you want to do. And then after that, if they move forward, then you go through it, you sign the document, and then you pull out. I like to bring a paper calendar with me. It's blank. It's blank for that month that it is. You can just go to Google and download one. It's super easy, right? And then I like to simply say, here's the timeline. It's visual. I might leave it there. I might even take the calendar with me, but it's a visual. So we'll schedule. Then we talked about we like to go live on this certain day of the week. Okay, great. Whatever it is for your plan. And so the next one coming up is this. Now, as we talked about, we love a pre-launch plan. We love a soft marketing to the market plan. We don't want to go live right away as soon as we can, because that's what rookie agents do. Because I think you leave a lot on the table when it comes to a soft launch. So we have this 2 weeks. We have to do this soft launch. We're going to start here, blah, 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 go live here, and then the pictures and the videos and all the media we're going to do here. Does all of this sound good to you? Now, that means, Mr. Seller, when our stager comes here, you're going to have to make sure you have the house clean, our photographer, right? But is that doable? If it's not, no, we need one more week. Okay, no problem. But it's coming to life now for them. And they know now when either you or maybe someone at your office calls on your behalf to schedule this or schedule that, they're not shocked. Like, wait, hold on, wait, we're doing what? Pictures
You
are
should
are
know what's
yeah,
coming ahead. Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
right. Preview what's to come. Always do that, whether it's a cold lead or whether it's a person that just agreed to work with you, right? So people love that certainty. So make sure you explain it and give it to them. That's what you owe them. You're a professional. That's what you owe them. So um, I jumped around a little bit, but I gave
Yeah.
the basic framework, I think, framework proof, organized process, A to Z, start to finish. And then
That water trick. I've never heard about that before. So
good old
that's a
water
really
trick.
good insight. Okay. Fabulous. And I know that we talked about Kelly got a little excited as he was getting into the listing presentation. He's like, oh, but the pre-listing, right? So we will have that for you next week, I think. So stay
Absolutely.
tuned.
Might
We'll
as
get to
well.
that
Let's get it done.
pre-listing. You know, you can flop these in order, listen to them that way as well. But you know, kind of your intent when you come into that house is you want them to know more about you and your process than you know about them, right? It's kind of like that's where you want to come into. You have stuff to learn, but you want them to know a lot of stuff about you and your plan before you even step foot into the door. It's kind of a good you know, mindset with that. Well, thank you, Kelly, for that. Hopefully you
Absolutely.
guys, again, take a look at your process. It's time to reinvent. Still the beginning of the year. Take a look at what you're doing now. Is it working for you? Is it not? Maybe take in some of these tactics to get it to work a little bit better this year. And as always, if you're looking to build your real estate team, go to buildyourrealestateteam.com, download the plan there. Kelly's written that all out for you so that you can, you know, start to build your team, like get some more people around you to help you so that you can teach them how to make an awesome listing presentation. And Kelly, if anybody wants to reach out to you about this, any other topic about your event, where can they reach you?
Yeah, at Kelly Cook Homes on Instagram. That's the best place to probably find me for social, or you just simply text or call 480-227-2028.
All right. Well, stay tuned, you all. We will see you next week.
All right.
Bye, Kelly.
See you guys.